Hey gangsters, it is Friday, March 4, 2022. Jeremy here, and I thought it was about time to do a walk around tank talk on all of my tanks, what's going on, why that's going on, and just show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So without further ado, let's jump right in and go through these in alphabetical order. This is a tank that you've probably seen quite a bit if you follow my channel or Facebook groups. This is tank A. It's my South American Endler tank. And there are lots and lots and lots of fishies in here. Most of them are Endler's live bearer, closely related to guppies. Some say they are a guppy. They will breed with guppies. There are Corridora catfish down here. There are some glow light tetras. There is one black skirt tetra that hangs out quite often over on this side. And lots and lots and lots of plantses. There's also a Serpy tetra that I don't see very often at all. But yeah, this is tank A. Dirt, under 2 inches of sand, very common to my setups, and blah. This is an unheated tank. It has a sponge filter only. Let's see if I can give you a shot of that. I've actually hidden it rather well in here, but back in there, there is a sponge filter, I promise. That might be the only bit of it we'll be able to see very well, but yeah, I've hidden it. Regardless, that's the only water circulation or filtration that exists in this tank, other than the biological filtration and circulation and movement of water. And you can see all these fish down in here. They move the water around a good little bit. So, from that, there's tank A. It was maintained and replanted just a couple of weeks ago. So from there, brief pause, we're going to move to tank B. And just like that, video magic, we are at tank B. Tank B, it's in my boy's room. I call him B, so that's kind of why it started out as tank B, even though we had more than 2 tanks, but whatever. This one became tank B. This has all of my pond guppies from last year. I didn't want to mix them in with my other gups, although now that it's been a few months and I'm sure that they are healthy, it would probably be fine. However, some of them have some pretty ratty fins. Others are pretty colorful. Like, look at this guy. That's ratty finnage. He does not get to go in with my other fish. But also, these guys had a betta that lived with them for a little while, and I'm not sure that Mr. Beta Phantom didn't have at it a bit with the gups. So, anyway, this tank was torn, not down or apart, but it had a super big haircut and some replanting, as well as the addition of that bit of driftwood. It has released a lot of tannins into the water. It's quite reddish brown compared to its normal look, but it seems to be okay. Anyway, within the next couple of months, some of these, the rat gups are going to go back to pond living outdoors, and this is a 29-gallon tank, so I'll probably start a new guppy colony in here just to do a colony breeding setup with some color that I don't have, a space for right now, so they're just hanging out with other guppies. Anyway, there is an old school hang-on back here that is the only filtration and water circulation. It does have a sponge filter over the intake. Sorry for the glare. I don't think we're going to be able to see the sponge, the pre-filter sponge very well. Let me see what I might be able to do for you. That's about the best look we'll get at it. But anyway, I actually try to hide some of the mechanicals in these tanks a good bit. This was originally a gourami tank, dwarf gouramis, and they only lived about 1.5 2 years before all of them ended up perishing, and then I just had guppy space. So, whatever. This is kind of an unplanned space. It was originally an Indian biotope, and then it just evolved. Anyway, tank B, pause. I'll catch you at tank C. Here we are now looking into tank C. It's a 20-gallon long. And something kind of interesting about this tank, this used to live at my grandmother's house. So from the time I was little, this was one of the first aquariums that I played with. And I apologize for the glare and the noise and the bouncing and stuff. I didn't have a really good way of shooting into this tank, but these are all of my cull guppies, mostly half black reds. These are fish that didn't exactly have genetics that I wanted to propagate. That's a blind cave tetra, and he does fine. He or she does fine in this tank. It is heated. Let's see. There's a filter. There's an in-tank filter here, like a submerged thing, and that provides a little bit of water flow. It just has a little undershelf shop light, and this little light up here, which is kind of the dim light. So when that shop light kicks off, that one's still going for a while. It has some plants that grow up out of the tank and around doing their thing, but for the most part, this isn't the most interesting tank I have. It is a gravel bottom tank, and it's almost no substrate. It was flat rock with a little bit of gravel laid around it. It was originally a stream setup, and now it's almost entirely Christmas moss. So this is just a catch-all. This is a junk tank. I shouldn't say that, but yeah, this is a junk tank. That's tank C, moving along. I'll find a way, if I can, to leave it such that this is a good tank for the cave tetra. But I'm not really sure yet how to do that. I presume just less stuff in the way is a good thing for cave tetras. Pausing, we're going to move to tank D. And here we have tank D in my living room. This is a 20-gallon tall, which is one of my favorite tank sizes for planted aquariums and guppy breeding. I just really like this format and size volume of tank. It's it's productive, it's useful, it's enough space definitely to breed guppies in a healthy environment and grow plants. And 10 gallons or really anything smaller than a 20 tall, I just think isn't really big enough for a good stable environment. The height of this water column I like. It takes a little more light to penetrate to the bottom of a 20 tall than a 20 long, but I'm okay with that. Through the day, mid parts of the day, there's this lamp that you can see in the back. That's kind of a purpley, blue, and red plant grow light. It's on for about 4 hours in the day, and this is a Higer 24/7 planted whatever lamp. The goofiest thing about this tank is it has a hang-on back filter in the front. And yeah, I know that's super goofy. I'm totally aware, but I like that filter on this tank. There used to be like 80 plus guppies in here, and I needed the filtration to support that many. Right now it looks like, I don't know, there are probably 30 to 40 in there. But lots of different things planted in here. This is for whatever reason, this tank seems to draw a lot of attention. I don't know if it's just where it is in my home that catches attention, or the contrast between the brighter red guppies and the green foliage and some red decor, but yeah, it's pretty cool, especially with the let me see if I can flip on the midday lights. Probably not. There, I think the switch for that one's somewhere else. Anyway, that is tank Delta. We're going to move to tank E next, and it's not very far, so we're not even going to pause. We're just... Oh, wait. Where is tank E? Yeah, it is up here. Just kidding. Okay. So this is tank Echo. I get confused sometimes. Tank E is a 55-gallon, just like tank A below it. That's South America. That's North America. So... really Central America, but Central America is North America. So in my mind, it made sense to put North America above South America. Maybe that's silly, but I went through and did some large tank maintenance to this one just a few days ago at the beginning of this calendar week, and it was it was time. The nitrates had crept up to the 50 ppm range in here. I did like a maybe 75% water change, brought those down to an unregistered level. Part of that might be because some of the chemistry I added, but I use CChem Prime. I use an API product I can't remember the name of, and I put a little bit of a biological booster in with large water changes. Anyway, also did some planting, added some Sagittaria grass, which was growing in the bottom of the tank below it in here. I also added a bit more Egeria densa, Anacharis, and some, what else? Trimmed some of those, dwarf chain swords, and checked on my dwarf hairgrass that's just, slowly creeping along, but it's staying alive, so that's good. It's been there, I don't know, a few months. But this tank has a lot of fish, and it needed more fast growing plants, like these stem plants that are coming up. That's really what can use nitrogens, nitrates, as they build up. So more fast growing plants, lots of light. You can also see the top of this tank is usually covered in duckweed. Duckweed's pretty good at removing nitrates, but when it becomes a big film like that over the top, it's blocking a lot of light. So this is roughly tank E. It's almost entirely guppies, mostly yellow and oranges, but there's some others that I need to pull out, some culls and such. And there are also some orange platies. Let me give you a look at those. I got a couple of platy fry from a friend a few months back, and I just think they're cute. Orange platies look really good against the green and the planted tank stuff. So there's tank Echo. Let me find tank Foxtrot. Pausing. Catch you there. And here we have tank F. This is a 50-gallon. I really like this tank shape and size, but this is a problem tank because it has this beautiful noisy thing. This used to be a Penguin Marineland, whatever, bio wheel, I think 350 or 360, I don't know, something like that. It's one of the larger ones with two wheels. It was dismantled and in parts when I received it. Someone gave it to me, but it's just so dang noisy, and you can't buy a replacement impeller to put in here. The impeller's worn out, and it's just noisy. One of those filters, I think, even from the big stores, it's only like $35, so I should probably just buy a replacement. There was also a sponge filter that set down in this area in the back. Let me walk around to the back side of the tank to show you. And here we are now on the back side of the tank. Yes, that's a cat door. I had a sponge filter, a big aquarium co-op style weighted sponge filter that set down here. And I don't like in planted tanks that have fewer water changes, people that don't do like regular weekly bring it down to nothing stuff, because those type filters end up getting hair algae almost without fail in my tanks that grows up from the top of them. So I did remove it. I already had this filter here. I mean, it was rocking and rolling, so all cool. There's a big 4-foot shop light. This is a Hyper Tough Walmart brand, 6500 Kelvin, 5500 lumen shop lamp, great for growing plants. And here's some kind of neat things. This is all Asian plants. So we've got a big onion plant, which I think is an Asian plant. I'm actually not sure about that. That was a guess. But everything from pothos, Chinese evergreen, Persian shield, more pothos. Oh, there's something that's not Asian. Tradescantia, and these aroids are not. Let me walk around to the other side, give you a views back at the angle I'm usually seeing it at. And apologize for the pile of shipping stuff underneath my desk over there. That's my shipping pile. So, anyway, Tank F is my main half-black guppy breeding colony. So, you can see there are half-black guppies with red tails. There are lots of plants in here now. This tank was started last fall, I'm thinking, the beginning of last fall, maybe the end of last summer. And it's going along pretty nicely. Pretty nicely indeed. Buddha thinks I'm doing a good job. Fishies, I don't know. The fish haven't talked to me as much as Buddha has. But this is what's going on in here. A friend of mine gave me the Marimo moss ball and 3 snailses a while back. I'm going to say that was a month ago. And this is just a pretty fun tank to look at. It's here kind of in the middle of my house in the foyer area. And I think it's pretty cool. Lots and lots of Asian plants. If you have any questions about any of the plants, drop a comment with a question and I will definitely address it. And letter after F, I'm thinking is G in my alphabet. So let's look over here straight to Tank Golf. This is a 55 gallon. This, I've had it a couple of years. This is black gups and blue gups. So let's see if we can get a close view of some of these guys. The yellow lighting from the tank next to it's kind of throwing the color off, but I think you get an idea of what they look like as they play. There are also bristlenose and citrus catfish in here that breed pretty frequently. This time of day, I don't know how many of them we'll see. There's a nearly adult female. There's a juvenile female, I think, but I'm not sure about that one. It's kind of small. There are at least 2 larger males. Oh, there's another juvenile down in there. So yeah, these are just the common short fin. Some people call them browns. I call them wild type. Anyway, Tank G stays in a very overgrown state, and I dig that. Lots and lots of plant growth in and above the tank. So we've got Tradescantia growing literally out and across this 4-foot shop light. It's growing from the hang-on back filter in the back along with some coleus here. That's it needs a place to go. Now that it's nearly spring, I think I'll stick it out in the yard sometime soon. But these type hang-on back filters, Aquarium Masters brand, they're probably my favorites. They last very well. They're quiet. I'm sure you can still hear the noise of that Penguin Marineland filter behind me. Gosh, that just drives me crazy. It's time to change that. But yeah, Tank G is what it is. It definitely is what it is. There's a big Eponogeton plant that I need to actually plant. I just dropped it in here to float, gosh, like 3 weeks ago because I didn't have a place to put it. And it's an African plant. I'm not sure where I'm going to put it, so I might just stick it down there. This is a catch-all plant tank. If I have a plant that I don't know where it should go, but I care about it, I put it in here. Lots of guppies and bristlenose. There are ram's horn snails in here as well. And notice, there aren't many. It's hard to find them, but they're definitely in here. I promise. I promise they're in here. There are some. There's one. There's another one. And honestly, there are too many plants for me to even begin to start talking about stuff in here. At one time last year, I counted like 35 species just in this tank. But all cool. We'll move along. What comes after G? H? Tank H is pretty close too. Tank H used to be a hospital tank. And I'm just going to back right over here so we get a look down into Tank H. This is a 10-gallon. Right now it has a male and a female gup gup that had, she's a blonde with a kind of a greenish blue tail fin. Her new mate down here is a light colored. She doesn't like him, by the way. I need to pull him up. She chases him all over this little tank. They've been in here for a couple of weeks together. She doesn't like him, so I guess I just need to accept that she has rejected my, whatever. What do you call those, like, forced marriages from back in the day? Like, if you find a cool prince and you want to throw off your princess to him, you go, hey, you guys are getting married. That's what I did to him, and she's not having it. So H. Now tank I. This is not tank I. Tank I has it leaked. It busted it. So last week I had to remove tank I. So we won't be talking about it. It was a 20-gallon tall. Also in this tank, this is tank H still, former hospital. I've just decided this is going to be my epiphytic plant grow out zone. So I've taken a lot of Java ferns and a couple of Anubias. And sorry for that reflection. That's just horrid, isn't it? Yeah, I'll get back up here. Less horrid reflections. So looking down here, you can see Java ferns, Anubias. There's also some Suwassertang or Suwassertang. I'm not sure how exactly to pronounce that. And this tiny, tiny little filter over here. It has a lava rock in it because I might stick a plant in the top of that. So we've talked about tank H. We briefly touched on tank I. I need to pause and take you to tank J. And a little more movie magic, and I've got you over here at tank J. Thanks for sticking. This is a 20-gallon tall guppy tank. It has one bristlenose catfish in it. Beyond that, it's all guppies. And it's a lot of guppies. I pull them out pretty regularly, but this is sort of my yellowish colony breeding area, and just where I separate yellow guppies from non-yellow guppies, so my yellow guppies don't have orange kids. And not that there's anything insinuated about that. It's just that that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to keep my yellow guppies yellow and my orange guppies orange and my red guppies red, my blue guppies blue, etc. This is where the yellow ones go, and this is kind of where they go before they get bred, like specifically in a 10-gallon or something. So in here, this is just super jungle boogie going on. Lots of chain swords that pretty much cover the bottom here. Back in the back, there's dwarf Sagittaria grass that's growing up. Moving over to the other side over here, we have Rotalas, Bacopas. There's an Anubias. I think this is a hybrid Anubias, but I'm not sure. And still, one half of this tank is just moss, and I really want to pull out a lot of that, free up some swimming space, clear up some of the floaters. It's just time, and give some other stuff a little more room to grow and thrive. So we'll look around. You can see kind of center screen now, there is a single sponge filter in here. There is also a heater below it that you can see running horizontally. Anytime you can run a heater horizontally, like if it's a submersible water tight filter or heater, stick them down in the bottom of the tank horizontally. They will create convection, thermal movement in the water, and it's actually a little more efficient. So not a lot to talk about in tank J, even though this is truly one of my favorite ones to just sit and look at and watch. It's just in a position where you can't see a lot right now. There's not really anything special happening in here other than guppies breeding, staying alive, and a lot of plant growth. So let's see. It's time to go look at tank K. Pausing for a moment briefly. And here we have tank K. Notice this was a tank that had a big crack across the back glass. I just smeared some silicone over it and started using it as a hospital tank outdoors in a greenhouse last year, maybe the year before. But yeah, I needed some space inside. I can't remember why, but I brought this in and it's functional. It's ugly as sin, but it's functional. So let's talk about it. This is this dude here, kind of center screen. He's the reason why I set this tank up. I wanted to breed this guy. He's an orange rusty guppy. I think he's flat gorgeous. I have a few others, and I'll probably set up a larger colony with these guys. His mate died 2 days ago, I think, and you can see here Fryborn 1201 and 214. So she had some Valentine's Day babies for me, but she died, a couple weeks after that. So it was kind of sad that I lost her, but I did get some fry from her. She was very pretty. She was a yellow or blonde gup with kind of an orange tail, so I was hoping she might have been a good mate for him to see what happens. Otherwise, let's talk about this tank. Janky light. What is this? This is the guts from inside of an old school lamp. So hang on back. We're going to pause and move to another tank now. Okay, so Castor and I are now here in my bathroom. And we're looking at tank L. Tank L is a 5.5 gallon beta tank. Let me see if I can find Phantom in here. Where is he? He's back in the back, hanging out back there. So yeah, Phantom's got his little space, and Castor likes raiding his space, drinking his water and stuff. But yeah, this is 5.5 gallon nanocube beta tank, and I like this guy a lot. I like this little tank a lot. It's only been running 6 weeks maybe. I don't know. I should have kept better records. I'm sure I did. I can look back through my logbook and see when I started testing the water. But soil, black sand, water, plants, beta. And from that, not really a lot to talk about here, so moving back to another tank. And here we have tank M. M is a 37 gallon tank that is part of an aquaponics project. This is not at all its final form. This is just what I have going to allow it to go for a moment. So that, even though, yeah, that's technically aquaponics. Yeah, that's technically aquaponics, sad as it looks. This is all going to be part of a larger system that includes more tubs like this that are going to be going all down on the ground and stuff. Yeah, it's my plant pile. Not a plant video, I don't think. This is an aquarium video. So let's talk about this 37 gallon tank M, which I call Africa. Africa has yellow guppies in it. And that's just because I needed space for yellow guppies and I wanted a space for African plants. So this is a really cool tank. There's a lot to talk about, but I'll probably make another short video just on it by itself. And from there, yeah, yellow guppies that are starting a yellow guppy colony outside of tank J. And these are the ones that are more true yellows for the most part. And then there are some guys like that. It's like a yellow mosaic or something. He probably doesn't need to stay in here. But it's about time to start adding ladies. From that, I've got one more tank to tell you about. And here we have my newest setup. This is tank N, November. And this is Endler's Live Bearer in a 15 gallon setup with a sponge filter, no heater, and there are a lot of them. I'm going to say a lot. I can't remember. Looks like 50 or more. So these guys were all in tank I when it sprang a leak about a week and a half ago. So I had to scramble for a solution. The soil, sand, and about 1/3 of the plant matter from that tank made it into here. about 2/3 of the fish from that tank made it into here. I don't think I lost any, but I had to move some to a larger tank, over to tank A, where there are also similar Endler's live bearers. So we can get a look at this. Some of my new plantings. I put some dwarf hairgrass in the bottom. There are bits of bacopa. There's pothos. All those roots are pothos. There's green mirio. There. Oh, this one's cool. This is one of my favorite native plants. You can see it growing up here, here, and here. Alligator weed. Alternanthera phylloxetes. I think it's cool stuff. So that's it. That's the state of my indoor aquatics at the moment, at the beginning of spring 2022. I hope you enjoyed this. If you would, give me a like, subscribe, share if you think this is interesting. Come check us out on Facebook, Arkansas Planted Aquarium Club group. And rock on, guys. Thanks for watching.